Coming up on Network Africa today. Leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda signed peace agreements seeking to end decades of conflict in the region. The Algeria Investment Summit is underway in Johannesburg, South Africa. Delegates speak on a major economic breakthrough for Africa. Plus, Lagos State begins second phase of its polio outbreak response campaign. Hello and welcome to the final edition of Network Africa for the week, right here on Channels Television. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have signed a peace agreement in Washington. It is aimed at ending years of conflict in the region and at the summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump. DR Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who have repeatedly traded accusations of a responsibility for the conflict, traveled to the U.S. Capitol for the signing ceremony alongside officials from several African nations. The signing ceremony offered President Trump another opportunity to cast himself as a global peace deal maker, as he praised both leaders for what he described as their courage in signing an agreement aimed at ending the long-running conflict and opening access to the region's critical mineral resources that will benefit all three nations' economies. The White House described this agreement as historic, noting that it builds months of mediation and formalizes an earlier framework reached in June this year.
These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all. If this agreement falters and things do not work out as they are supposed to, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves. It's up to us in Africa, working with our partners to consolidate and expand this peace.
The Democratic Republic of Congo will fully play its part with dignity, with consciousness and consistency, and with the support of our partners. We will remain watchful, vigilant, but not pessimistic. We'll be clear-eyed, but resolutely optimistic. These Washington agreements for peace and prosperity must be for our peoples a symbol of an irreversible commitment to turn the page of confrontations and to open a new era of cooperation and sustainable peace throughout the region.
During this holy season, Christians everywhere rejoice at the miracle in Bethlehem more than 2,000 years ago, when the Son of God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, came down from heaven to be with us. You're right. Full of grace and truth, he brought the gift of God's love into the world and the promise of salvation for every person and every nation. And we just settled another war today. You saw that with Rwanda and the Congo. It's been going on for 34 years. Millions of people killed. Could be 20 million. They don't know what the number is, and we just settled it today. That was a big one. We're very happy to announce it on this important day.
Well, joining us now on the program is Francis Nyonzo, who's an African Affairs analyst who joins us from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. Thank you very much for joining us, Francis. And how different is this U.S. broker deal from the many African-led peace efforts that have already failed in Eastern Congo?
Well, I think the big difference is the power that U.S. has, the economic power that U.S. actually maintains. I mean, like, we have different regional integrations, SADC, EAC, East African Community, but they don't have some of the tools even to say like we can make this thing, like we can ban you, we can make some restrictions. So basically US has got those tools to say like, this is what you should agree. If you don't, we can take this, we can restrict you on this service. Maybe in any economic benefits that these countries have been benefiting from these, the bilateral agreements between us and US.
But one cannot deny the fact that there are actually U.S. interests in this peace deal. We've talked and heard about mineral resources. Do you think that this peace push is really about ending the war, or is it about securing Congo's cobalt and U.S.'s supply chains?
Of course, it is. We should all not ignore the fact that nobody can engage into anything that does not benefit him. So it is true that US has some interest into this region, but then it is the responsibility of Rwanda and Congo DRC to find the interest within the interest of US into the agreement. So it's not like the US having the interest then that can trade off the interests of Congo or Rwanda into this.
But Francis, given the reports by the United Nations and the humanitarian crisis this conflict has already caused over the years, can both Rwanda and DRC truly be trusted to honor these agreements, remembering the things that have happened in the past?
No, we have this great problem in most of the African countries whenever we negotiate agreements. So honoring the agreement depends on the negotiation that we had when Congo and Rwanda reached when they were discussing it. So if the agreements were those, they negotiated to benefit the people of their countries, they may honor it. But if they find out like what they have negotiated when they were getting into this agreement, they didn't put forward the interest of the people, the Congolese and Rwandese, that would be a problem. They may not honor the agreement.
And speaking about the humanitarian reality, let's talk reality now. With millions displaced and fighting still ongoing around Goma, can civilians expect real relief anytime soon?
It may take some time. It may take some time because the problem of that region was not just the problem of the region itself. Even the neighboring countries like Tanzania is transporting a lot of things to Congo. And most of the drivers were having the problems just because of the conflict. So having this agreement may mean some relief to the civilians to access some of the services, but it may not be as quick as we may think. It may take some time to trust like there is peace in that region.
And finally, what must actually happen in the next few weeks for this deal to avoid becoming just another failed peace agreement that we know with most African countries? What needs to happen going forward?
Well, I think it is very important to have like discussions with the people, the stakeholders in your country, to listen to the ideas. Many countries, they have CSOs, the civil society organizations, human rights defenders, and some other people who are intellectuals when it comes to peace and security. We have to listen to them when we want to keep the deal, to avoid becoming another field of, failed. So we have to listen. Congo and Rwanda has to listen to these people, the CSOs and everything, and other stakeholders to make sure that they keep it. And the people, we should actually put forward the public.
All right, thank you very much. African Affairs Analyst Francis Nyonzo, thank you so much for your time, and please stay safe.
Thank you.
Let's head to South Africa now, where the President Cyril Ramaphosa has highlighted that the country has not received any formal communication from the United States as the next host for the G20 Leaders Summit 2026. And this is following recent statements on social media from the Trump administration that South Africa will not be invited to Miami for the Leaders Summit. President Ramaphosa says that South Africa is an equal sovereign country and should be treated like one.
The United States has said that South Africa will not be invited. We have not seen that in writing yet. We've just had the media publications. We are yet to receive it in writing, and we will deal with that when it comes. We are, as South Africa, a fully fledged member of the G20, and we have held a very successful G20, and this is not only being said by us. It is said by many, many other people around the world, saying that South Africa's presidency of the G20 was a very successful G20 process, and the declaration that was adopted is also a forward-looking declaration, which will help to lead to many changes around the issues that we identify. So as South Africa, we can know for ourselves as a country that we held a successful G20. What happens going forward are matters that we will deal with.
Does it give you sleepless nights, Mr. President, that the conduct of the U.S. President?
No, I don't have sleepless nights. And all we want really as South Africa is to be treated as an equal sovereign country, a country that respects other countries, a country that fosters the success and prosperity of other countries. That's who we are. We wish no country ill in the world, and in fact, as a country, we don't have enemies, we just have friends. And we want to advance the friendship relationships with all countries in the world. And that is our stance, and we will never be derogatory against any country, any leader in the world. We will always treat every country with due regard and with respect and with great consideration.
Delegates at the Algeria Investment Summit underway in Johannesburg say that Africa stands on the brink of a major economic breakthrough. They believe that if governments deliver on AfTA, that's the AfCFTA implementation, it will improve infrastructure and unlock trade, investment and finance. The continent will generate hundreds of billions in new income, expand intra-African trade, create millions of jobs and lift countless people out of poverty. A South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, attended that summit and filed in this report.
Algeria's ambassador to South Africa, His Excellency Ali Ashwil, says his country is unlocking key investment opportunities with a strong focus on infrastructure development, mining and energy across the African continent.
Mining sector is one of the important sector which South Africa have a very good experience, and now in Algeria we are trying to improve this sector of mining. They have many opportunities. I want to invite all our South African friends to come to Algeria and to see the opportunities of investing or to partnering.
Imani Taumi, Assistant Manager of the Director General Algerian Investment Promotion Agency, says introducing a direct one-way flight from Algeria to South Africa in January next year will significantly strengthen trade relations between the two countries.
That flight will facilitate things further because instead of making connections and stops on other continents, not only other countries, we are making stops on other continents, there will be a flight right forward from Algeria to Johannesburg that will facilitate trade.
Delegates underscored the importance of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement in creating millions of jobs, including better paid and higher quality jobs.
I think it will be great. From where we are, we don't think that there's a family that will go to bed with hunger. everyone will be able to have the share of the economy. I think if you look in terms of the challenges in relation to the youth unemployment, that is going to be one of the contributing factors in making sure that we are able to make a serious stand in relation to that. But I think that the other area that we think that we can also be able to explore is in relation to the youth exchange programs.
So it's an interesting question that you ask if we get it right. And we don't actually have a choice. We have to get it right. And when we get it right, we open up the whole continent to do business with each other at fair prices. Now, it's quite interesting that if you look at countries inside Africa, they normally have tax breaks between countries outside of Africa. So it's more beneficial to do business outside of Africa than internally.
As discussions draw to a close, delegates say the real work begins now, turning today's commitments into meaningful action for communities on the ground. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Still to come, our Africa Tech segment discusses the role technology is playing in enhancing the beauty and wellness space in Africa. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Network Africa on Channels Television. The Lagos State government has announced the commencement of the second round of the polio outbreak response campaign, a coordinated effort led by the state government and Primary Healthcare Board in partnership with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and other development partners. The permanent secretary to the Lagos State Primary Health Board, Dr. Ibrahim Mustafa, says the campaign will run from Saturday, December the 6th to Tuesday, December the 9th this year, and it forms part of the state's continuous strategy to halt the spread of polio virus and strengthen immunity among children. According to Dr. Mustafa, the second phase of the polio response campaign aims to further fortify vulnerable communities, especially those that are densely populated and considered high risk. And welcome to the tech segment. Well, in Nigeria today, the beauty and wellness industry stands as one of the country's most creative and fast-evolving sectors, from hairstylists and barbers to spa owners and skincare professionals. Thousands of small business owners drive daily economic activities across communities. Yet behind the scenes, many of these businesses still rely on manual systems to manage appointments, payments, and customer records, a challenge that limits growth, efficiency, and access to wider markets. Well, as digital tools continue to reshape traditional industries, indigenous technology platforms are now beginning to play a major role in closing this gap. So today, in our Africa Tech segment, we're examining how digital solutions are reshaping the business of beauty and what this transformation means for small enterprises in Nigeria. And joining us now is Bibi Olunuga. She's a beauty and wellness entrepreneur and founder of Beauty. Here in the studio, I actually like that beauty, you know, the very nice way of saying beauty. Yes. Welcome and thank you for joining us on this Africa Tech segment on Network Africa.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
You're welcome. Now, the beauty and wellness industry, we know, employs millions of people across Africa, often through small, informal businesses. But from your own perspective, how important is technology in helping this sector become even more vibrant, more structured, more visible, and sustainable?
Thank you for asking that. As you said rightly, the beauty industry is actually a growth engine for the Nigerian economy. Many people in this industry, it's quite fragmented and very informal, and people actually don't have data that actually helps in involving their businesses. According to Euromonitor, the beauty industry, African beauty industry, it would actually grow by 8 billion by 2028. And this is an industry that is often overlooked. So when you actually speak to a typical makeup artist, they don't know how much they've made this year, this month, or today. So how do you plan for growth when you don't have the data to support that? And this is where a couple of, tech-led spaces do come in, such as beauty, to give them the data they need, and the customer relationship management, which gives convenience. So how do you book your client, and how do you manage clients that are actually coming back to you? How do you know them better? How do you support your business better? So this is where a tech-led platform like beauty comes in to actually support them.
And now with the December festive, we call it Dirty December, approaching already, a peak period for beauty and analyst and wellness services. What opportunities does this time create for entrepreneurs like yourself, and how can digital tools help them manage the increased demand, especially at this time?
Thank you. Have you ever called a makeup artist and they tell you, oh, I'm overbooked?
Yes, of course.
Have you ever called your stylist and tell you, oh, did I have you on my schedule today? So, as we know, 30 December is a great time to make so much money. People are flying in, people want to look beautiful. I mean, for a typical makeup artist, it's the best time yet to make a lot more income. It's have brand visibility and actually also scale the business. So with 30 December here, it is a good time for service providers to actually use technology to actually build their brand and also scale the businesses. Technology is going to help them in terms of booking appointments, payment, which beauty has for convenience, and also know their customer better. So when a customer comes to you repeatedly, you already know what they want, the kind of makeup they want, the kind of styles they want, and things like that. And that's why there is an inbuilt customer relationship service management on beauty as well to support. And this is where technology helps.
And now looking ahead into the future, how do you envision the future of Africa's beauty and wellness sector and that space as more technologically driven solution emerges, and especially in her growth and market like Nigeria, and when you talk about youth employment and women-led enterprises like the beauty sector?
In terms of the beauty sector, thanks for asking that, women are leading, and apart from women, the youth are also leading. So in terms of technology, it's really going to help to bring the informal space and help them grow, make them a scalable business, and also data-led. So that is why we're working with a couple of data businesses, or they should be working with a couple of data businesses such as Data Addict and other ones there to help them scale the business, know who your customers are, and also help them understand the business, their craft as well, and help them also brand. And when you brand and scale your business, it actually gives you opportunity to have access to loans and access to financial services that you've been needing to actually scale your business.
So quickly, just 1 second. So the beauty has a website, a proper
Beauty
structured.
has a website. Beauty has an app as well that you can use. So beauty is to help you manage your booking appointments for service providers and also users as well. So beauty is an app that actually connects service providers and service users. You know when the service provider is booked, is available, you know how much you're going to pay. And in terms of service, in terms of dispute resolution as well. So you don't need to argue with a service provider about anything. So that is all done for you. And you also get refunds. We don't get a lot of that in the market.
Refunds, very important.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Bibi
Thank you for
Olunuga.
having me.
She's a beauty and wellness entrepreneur and founder of Beauty. Thanks a lot for having
Thank you
coming
so much
to our studio.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
You're welcome. And as we end Network Africa today, here's one fun fact about the continent. Did you know Rwanda was the first country to have a majority women national legislature, achieving this milestone with the Chamber of Deputies after the 2008 elections? This was due to constitutional mandates for female representation and significant women's role post-genocide, maintaining top global rankings in women's political participation. And that's Network Africa for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. Have a wonderful weekend.